Time come out to play. Time come out to play. If you don't know by now, we always start, well, not always start, but for the last week, we've been starting the show off with our favorite song, Watermelon Felon, to Mr. Carmelo Anthony. So if you're not ready to shake your ass, you might as well turn away right now. If you want to shake your ass, you stay tuned, right? And if you don't want to listen to the show, you can turn the show off after that, right? But if you come for the whole show, you come to shake your ass and get the information, right? Get ready to shake your ass. You ready? Time come out to play. Watermelon Felon.
Got a tag on the bag, it say Watermelon Felon. Sneaking through the market with a grin, too telling. Pineapple spears in the cup, dip red like a potion. Everybody looking like, man, what you selling? Brown clown, no rules, just playing. Pockets full of lies and a knife in his hand. Stabbing kids with a wild eye stare. Left a trail of blood in the busted front chair. Oh, he too slick, talk too quick. Ducking every camera, then he do that trick. Oh, he too proud. Too loud, whole block know his name when he come around. Watermelon Felon, Watermelon Felon. Sweet on the tongue, that's how wrong, go and get some. Watermelon Felon, Watermelon Felon. Laugh now, run fast, but the pain come back, son. Yeah. He blame the moon, blame the street, blame the whole damn city, blame the cash, blame the break, blame the world for pity. Say everybody foul, say everybody fake. But he the one who made the wild mistake. Got Kool-Aid on his fingers, got a plan in the stare. Got a lemon lime grin and the do not care. He talk big game and he fold real quick. When the door swing open, he can't fake that twist. Oh, he too slick, talk too quick. Ducking every camera, then he do that trick. Oh, he too proud, too loud. Whole block know his name when he come around. Watermelon Felon. Watermelon Felon. Sweet on the tongue, that's how wrong, go and get some. Watermelon Felon. Watermelon Felon. Laugh now, run fast, but the pain come back, son. Now he in a jail cell, looking so dumb. Talking about a clean slate, talking about he dumb. But the laugh gets stuck when Tyrone show up. Don't drop the soap, but things will get rough. Watermelon Felon. Watermelon Felon. Sweet on the tongue, that's how I'm going to get some. Watermelon Felon. Watermelon Felon. Laugh now, run fast, but the pain come back, son.
Hey, Watermelon Felon. How y'all doing tonight? I got some good news. If you want to see more Black Rosebud in the future, I just set up a deal. I got one more thing to seal. I don't want to spill the beans unless until I seal the deal. But soon you're going to be able to catch live shows. I'm going to have my own talk show. You know what I'm saying? Like some Jimmy Kimmel stuff. You know, I'm going to have my own talk show. You know, they're going to be once a week, right? You can watch it live on my Patreon, or you can see the aired version later on or something like that. But you're going to be able to see a lot of live shows. I have a lot of live club shows, a lot of live interviews. I'm going to have a game show, and I'll have all that, you know what I'm saying, coming real soon. And I'm going to need your support, you know what I'm saying, because they're all based on this YouTube. I'm going to give you shows every day. I'm going to give you live shows, skits. I'm going to do all that if you just subscribe, you know what I'm saying, to my Patreon. I ain't going to put my Patreon up yet. I don't want y'all to subscribe yet. I'm going to wait till all the deals are sealed, and then we're going to do the damn thing. But anyway, it's Watermelon Felon. We miss you, but it's time to move on from you on this song. No, not the song, but your ass. Right? Anyway, it's been released, y'all. The Autopsy report has been released. And I've been saying all along, right? Like that, it's going to be something besides the friends or the murder or the something like that they're going to have to go after, right? Because now they saying they had the body all this time, right? They had the body all this time. And they finally released the autopsy report, their autopsy report, right? And it's basically nothing, right? But it's a lot of interesting things that they tried to prove. And for one, you know why the medical examiner probably wasn't there, right? The medical examiner gave the report. Everybody from Ben Crump, Al Sharpton wasn't there, but Ben Crump, the family members, press, you know what I'm saying, I guess the church, whoever was there, but the medical examiner who didn't show up, who wrote the report, why did he not show up to his own findings? Have you thought about that? I know you have probably thought about that because you probably ain't saw this video yet. I'm asking you, why do you think the medical examiner did not show up to the autopsy findings, to his own work? Why do you think he didn't show up? Ben Crump showed up. The family showed up. Huh? Why do you think Mr. Medical Examiner didn't show up for his own a job description, right? If you was in the courts, if you was in a court of law, you would show up, right? If you had to testify, right, you would show up in front of a grand jury. Why you didn't show up in front of a press conference? Because he ain't found nothing. True, he didn't find nothing, but let's get deeper than that. Why he didn't find nothing? That's one of the main reasons why I didn't find nothing. We know you didn't find that. We know you wasn't going to find nothing. But I think the real reason why he didn't come to the press conference, right? Because he didn't want to answer questions about him not finding nothing, right? And as long as Ben Crump can answer the questions for him, Ben Crump can always put the doubt in somebody's mind. Am I right? Am I wrong? Right? But it's a long video. We about to get into it, right? Because it's a long video right here. We got a lot of information in this video. So I'm about to start this video, right, with no further delay, because a lot of stuff we got to talk about in this video. It's a lot of information explained in this video. Let's get into it. Watermelon felon, good looking out.
Watermelon felon.
You said you kind of grew up together. Mm-hmm. Did you know his mom, or how was that? Because I saw in the media where it appears that she may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Wait a minute. I thought see, you know where the mama lied at? The mama and the other boys, with the Williams brothers or whatever, they got on there and lied and said that they was Nolan Wells' best friend, right? They was Nolan Wells' best friend. They knew nothing about Nolan. They were the black people. They knew nothing about Nolan, but they was his friend. They wasn't hanging with him. They knew nothing about where he was at. Nolan didn't ride with him, right? They have no pictures with each other, hanging out, anything like that. No communication, right? Nolan wasn't in their Javon, whatever his name, wasn't in their friend group, right, with Nolan. But evidently, we know that the other two brothers' mother is best friends with Nolan's mother. It has no relationship to do with the kids. The mothers are best friends, not the kids. So when the kids get I grew up with Nolan, I done this, that has nothing to do with you being his best friend. You have no connections with Nolan, but you get on here on TMZ with you and your mother and all this other stuff, and y'all claim that y'all know Nolan and stuff. That's the mother's best friend, not the kid's best friend. The black kids and Nolan is not best friends. Nolan is not best friends with somebody black. Doesn't take nothing away from Nolan. You are if you are in a community, right, and you have a community full of different colored people, you have to be friends with them people, right? You can't be like, I'm black, so I ain't gonna be friends with you. No, he so happened to live in a community. His parents were successful, moved him in a community which they consider safe. I don't blame the parents, right? Nolan hung around white kids and football and his social life and stuff like that. I don't blame Nolan, right? That's what the parents supposed to do, right? And that's what Nolan's supposed to do. Everybody in the situation done exactly what they're supposed to done in the situation. Take your kid out of a dangerous situation, which could be considered the hood, right? In different places with a lot of black people, you know what I'm saying, and move them to a safer environment of working class, of working people, and things like that. It may be of a different color, but so what? You figure, right? Or you put them in somewhere you figure would be safe. Nothing wrong with any of them situations, right? But to get on here and lie and say that they were best friends with the black kids is not true. He was best friends with the white kids. Nothing wrong with that.
She may have said, at least I saw in part, that she said as if she didn't know any of you guys.
Right.
There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son?
Well, Nolan, a lot of the times was at like my house and at my buddy's house. We never went to Nolan's house and hung out. I mean, and my friend group's very, very tight knit. I mean, we hang out every day when we're back home from school. In high school, we hung out most weekdays and every day on the weekend. And I mean, we were never at Nolan's house.
We were never at Nolan's house. We was always at my house or somebody else's house, right? So if Nolan was always at his friend's house and never at home with his parents, how do his parents know so much about him? Right? Because you got other kids, you got to go work, the average parent can only spend about 2.5 hours with their kid a day if they're lucky, right? Because you spend 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep. You only got 8 hours in a day. Your kids ain't finna spend the whole 8 hours with you. He got homework, a social life. He's not finna spend the whole 8 hours with you. Hour, 30 minutes, hopefully, 7 hours a week. But he's spending 9, 10, 12, 15 hours with his friends a day. His friends know way more secrets about him than his parents ever will. Right? So when you say, oh, the friends didn't know, they knew everything about Nolan. And they give a bigger and a better eulogy than Benjamin Crump and Al Sharpton gave at the eulogy, at the funeral about Nolan than the parents gave, than the daddy gave. They gave more about his character, about the person he was, and all that shit. They should have had these people at the funeral. His best friend who knew him the best.
Which, there's nothing wrong with that, but
we have consistently been degraded by the public. There's been questions about our parenting, our GoFundMe, this, that, and other. I've been called a racist. I am a healthcare provider, and I take my job very seriously. I love everyone.
A health care provider can't be racist. They complain about our GoFundMe. We know you after the money. We know it.
I met his father, and I mean, in 8th grade, Nolan. That's when Nolan and I got really close. It was COVID year, and we were in class all year long together. Me and a couple of my buddies, and Nolan and I just got super tight because we'd get a Waffle House once a week together, eat, and I mean, we were just super, super close.
We're gonna miss our son, and like my wife said, we just want honesty. We want to know what happened to our son, because the things that you're telling us, that's not the character of our son. We know our son.
But
well, let the white explain his character to us instead of having his best friend explain his character to us, who should have been at the funeral, right? But couldn't be at the funeral because it'd have been racist and he was accused of murder and stuff like that. You know how you feel he couldn't go to his best friend's funeral? And you sitting up here talking about Nolan's character? Well, Nolan had enough character to surround himself with people who he considered safe people, good people. If you trust Nolan's character, you should trust his judgment and friends. You had nothing to say about his friends when he was around them. You knew nothing about his friends, you know what I'm saying, when he was with them. But now all of a sudden you know everything about his friends when they gone.
That's not the character of our son. We know our son.
But his dad would swing by Wallflies, and like, hang out around us, but never, I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but I mean, that didn't change our relationship any. Nolan and
I was never around Nolan's parents a lot, but ask Nolan, was he around my parents? Ask my parents, do they know Nolan? I bet you they do. I bet you they fed Nolan. I bet you Nolan spent the night, right? I bet you Nolan went on other trips with the family. I bet you this wasn't the first time Nolan. Come on, man.
I were still just as close, and he was just as close with my friends as, anyone else. So
we never kicked it with Nolan.
Roger Mitchell could not join us today, but we felt it important before we reveal and unfold this report that you.
Wait a minute. The most important press conference in America at this point right now. The thing is at the top of every news story right now, right? The thing that had the most eyeballs, the thing that need the most explanation, the most clarity. You mean the doctor couldn't make it to this? Y'all couldn't pay him? He couldn't take a day off? He couldn't come to the press conference and explain his findings himself, so we wouldn't have to take the words of Ben Crump? He couldn't come so he can take questions? Nah. We're going to let Benjamin Crump handle this.
To understand who conducted this autopsy. Dr. Roger Mitchell is a physician and board-certified forensic pathologist with 2 decades of experience.
For the civil rights.
Why he can't tell us? Why he can't tell us? And just like the funeral, right, it's nothing but a name game. We want to give a shout out to all the celebrities.
Leaders stepping up to say that our children's lives matter now more than ever. I'm very happy that the media said this story is just as important. And I'm sure LeBron James and Rich Paul and, Stephon Curry and Draymond Green, Jaylen Brown, Embiid, Maxey, Giannis, Bam, and many other players in the National Basketball Association will all agree that our children's lives are far more important than where LeBron or any other player will play next year.
LeBron putting his decision on hold until the autopsy come out or until Nolan Wells receives justice, y'all.
And so that's why I thank you all for being here, because this news is as important as any news in the United States of America, finding out whether is Nolan Wells dead. You all who have called the call center, I want to thank Reverend Al Sharpton. I want to thank Mr. Tyler Perry. I want to thank Mr. Terry Owens for putting up the $125,000 reward for anybody out there who have information so we can get to the truth of what happened.
We had roughly 20 to 30 people coming on 3 separate boats with us. And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. It wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island. It wasn't just a couple of us. I mean, there were so many people, we had to split up between 3 boats, and we all left and all got there at the same time.
Then that's the truth, buddy. That's the truth from the witnesses.
I mean, any videos, and we've gotten so many videos, President Johnson, from that day from young people, and we want them to have the courage to come forward with the pictures. What you heard, I know people said there were a lot of disturbances out there. Some believe it involved Nolan. All of those things are important to get to the truth of what happened.
There's thousands of people out there. Thousands of people out there. People filming their family members. People filming the event. People filming the water. People filming nature. If people talking to their family members, people talking to their kids, people talking to people they ain't saw in a minute, people talking to new people. Who in the fuck is worried about what Nolan Wells talking about? You think the whole beast is concentrating on one person? Is there anything you heard? I was listening to my own conversation. I didn't hear nothing about no. I didn't even notice them. I had a whole thing. This is a 4th of July weekend. I'm drinking, I'm barbecuing. Why the fuck am I paying attention to a little black kid running around the beach with his little white kids for? Hey, did you see anything? Did you heard anything? What am I supposed to see? What am I supposed to hear? What am I supposed to look out for? I'm celebrating, I'm drinking, I'm barbecuing, I got my family, I'm eating. I'm not worried about no black kid running around the beach.
The fact, Christine, that the United Cajun Navy are so forthcoming. The fact that they told us, we haven't heard from any of their local officials, that Nolan was found face down, fully clothed. Well, that's
fully clothed. Well, the last picture of him y'all saw on the boat, he was wet, bending over for a beer. So evidently, he had time to dry off, right? He had time to put on some clothes, right? Which he was eventually going to leave, right? So the picture, you got to get a timeline of the picture of when he was on that boat, right? And if he was fully clothed, where did he get fully clothed at? Where did he get his clothes from? It wasn't on the boat. If the boat with the friends already left, so where did he get his clothes from? If the picture on the boat of him on the boat was him wet, bending over, getting a beer, how did he get fully dressed? Y'all ain't said nothing about that. How did he get fully dressed? How long did it take him to dry off? Where did he dry off at? Where did he change at? Who boat he changed on? They ain't asking nothing about that.
Significant to us because the last time we saw him on the videos, he was without a shirt. So at what point did he put on a shirt? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something.
You think people watching Nolan Wells getting dressed? Wouldn't that be freaky? What time did he put on his shirt? I don't give a damn about what time somebody getting dressed to leave a beach. Somebody saw him putting on a shirt. Somebody saw him getting dressed. Who? Who paying attention to him getting dressed? Why? Why would somebody pay attention to him getting dressed? Because he's the only black kid on the beach? Let's pay attention to the black kid on the beach getting dressed. Let's keep our eye on the black kid on the beach getting dressed. Somebody knows something. What? You're going to ask me what time? That's a dumbass question to ask somebody. Can you tell us what time Nolan Wells got dressed? The hell if I know. Can you tell us where he got dressed at? The hell if I know. I was paying attention to the white girl. I wasn't paying attention to Nolan.
Almost 300, 400 people. Somebody knows something.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that's clear because the statements that are out there made it appear that it was just you, Nolan, and probably 2 or 3 other guys, and y'all are the only ones that went out to this island.
And that's completely incorrect. I mean, Horn Island on the 4th of July is the most popular day to be on the water on, throughout the entire Gulf Coast. I mean, everybody and their mom is on the water on 4th of July, There's no telling. I mean, roughly probably 2 to 3, maybe even 4,000 people out there.
And Christian and Elmore, if you all want to sit, we're about to go through this autopsy, and I know it may be a little emotional. And to present the preliminary findings of the autopsy, we want to especially thank Mr. Colin Kaepernick for not thinking it robbery to pay for the autopsy. Nolan Xavier Wells, he conducted and presented this report on July 19th, 2026. Preliminary report, second autopsy, death of Nolan Xavier Wells. Cause of death, undetermined, pending investigation. The manner of death.
Undetermined and pending investigation, right? You mean you had this body all this time, y'all was screaming all this murder shit and then all this can't wait till the autopsy come and thing like that, and it's inconclusive? It's inconclusive.
Undetermined, pending investigation. The manner of death, undetermined, pending investigation.
Everything is pending investigation now, right? We're going to leave more doubts and more questions. Everything is pending investigation, y'all.
Gender, male. Date of death, unknown.
The date of death is pending investigation. So when did he have the body for? He ain't found nothing?
Second autopsy date was performed on July 10th, 2026. Preliminary findings. And this is significant. Focal area of red discoloration in the soft tissue of the back of the head, the occipital region. He said the etiology is unknown at this time.
Why is it significant then? It's unknown at this time. The etiology is unknown at this time. Inconclusive, unknown.
He said the body was received after the initial autopsy. He said the body had marked decompensation.
This nigga lawyer and can't even spell decompensation. Decompensation.
Decompensation. He said corona incision of the scalp, brain removal, Y-shaped incision of the anterior torso, and he talked about the organs being removed as.
Look, shouldn't the doctor come up here and he said he found and wouldn't it have been better if I found and I discovered and he said that's he say she say shit. He said you can't even pronounce the words when he said.
So, and he talked about the organs being removed as is common, accompanied in the body cavity. And that when you have an autopsy, the organs are removed from the body and they're dissected and examined. And then they're put back in a bag within inside the body. So when they're buried, their remains will all be with them. But in this occasion, if there's going to be a second autopsy, then the organs are put in the body cavity so the second pathologist could be able to examine the organs as well.
So in other words, common procedure for them take the guts out. Since you want to do a second autopsy, we have to put the guts back in. You know what I'm saying? Because if it wasn't a second, we put the guts back in, seal the body, get it ready for the funeral, right? But since y'all want to have a second autopsy, we got to put all the findings back in the body, you know, a thing like that, which is normal procedure. Nothing wrong with that, right? But the doctor should have been up here explaining this because he's making it seem kind of suspicious.
Very significant for Dr. Mitchell was that the anterior inner neck structures were absent, not received with the body. And we'll explain that in just a minute. And then it talks about the additional procedures performed during the second autopsy. And we'll go into the paragraphs on that there.
You can't get it. He doesn't know how to talk clearly. He's not fluent. You should have had somebody with some medical experience that can talk clear, right? That's clairvoyant, right? To explain this in a press conference, not a damn civil rights lawyer talking to medical terms.
because he explains it better. Talks in the preliminary discussion opinion. This forensic pathologist identified several limitations during the second autopsy that create barriers to establishing a definitive cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells. And that's important. He talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for
we didn't get a chance to see the body. You wasn't supposed to get a chance. The medical examiner got to review the body, right? And before she released the body to their family and to anybody. Oh, we didn't get a chance to see the body like the medical examiner did. Of course. That's common sense. So we didn't get a chance to discover the same things he did because we didn't get a chance to see the body at the same time as he discovered it.
Talks about the fact that we didn't get to see the body when it was first recovered, like the medical examiner working for Mississippi would have seen it. He talked about the second autopsy performed on Nolan Wells revealed marked decompensation or changes. Marked decompensation can obscure the presence and absence of bruising on the skin surface, especially during a second autopsy examination.
So, what you're saying that the body was so as he say, decomposed, right? The body was so decomposed that you couldn't see if it was any marks or bruises. What about broken bones? What about damaged skin? I done saw them dig up bodies from on the first 48 and Unsolved Mysteries, right? They done dug up bodies from years. Like, man, there's bruising here, it's marked here. You could tell there was strangulation, you know what I'm saying? And the back of the neck, the skull. They could tell all kinds of shit. You mean to tell me that you got the body, right? And you can't tell if he been bruised or his skin was damaged or the back. You can't tell none of that. None of that. Oh, it's inconclusive because we don't have the right. We didn't get a chance to see him, and the body decomposed before we got it, so we can't tell if it's any bruises. Man, that's somebody. That's a Colin Kaepernick paid pathologist, or whatever the hell they call him, right? You can tell he's liberal. They paid this dude to say this, right? They're not gonna pay him to say anything else about it. No finding. They're gonna pay him to say anything inclusive, everything. We need to get this to the jury because we can't figure things out, and I don't know the truth. So we need to get this thing to the jury as fast as possible. Why? Everything's inconclusive, right? You have no supporting evidence. Well, we didn't. So no bruising on the skin. There's no fractures on the head. Right? Watch what the reasons they come up with.
What he's saying, because the body was so decomposed that you couldn't tell if there was bruises or abrasions on the body when he received it on the 10th.
They couldn't tell me no bruises on the body. It wasn't no bruises on the body, fool.
July. For these reasons, additional dissection procedures not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. These procedures included facial dissection.
Right? So you ruling out blunt. So did your autopsy report rule out blunt force injury, meaning nobody hit him upside the head with anything, then knock him out, and why he was asleep in the water? Huh? Is that what they found? No blunt force injury?
Were performed to is not performed during the first autopsy examination were performed to rule out potential blunt force injuries responsible for the death. These procedures included facial dissection, posterior head and neck dissection, dissection of the ribs, the pelvic, dissection of the subcutaneous and deep.
Why is he explaining this? He can't even pronounce the words.
Soft tissue dissection of the back, the buttocks, the arms, and legs. He did all of this to rule out things. He ruled out there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries identified. This was very important because he wanted to be very thorough and very transparent, because transparency is the key.
So all that is ruled out. There's no blood. He dissected the whole body and came up with no conclusion. There's no blunt force injury, right, to the body. These are our findings. Did you find something different?
To get into the answers of why Nolan Wells is not with us.
I went with my buddy Bart because we had a lot of friends from college coming down, and I called Bart that morning. I was like, "Hey man, can you take your boat out?" And he was like, "Yeah, well, my dad's decided not to go, and I'll take the boat and I'll take you and your friends." Of course, I mean, he's a buddy of mine. And so Bart pulled up at the dock, and I mean, I rode out there with Bart and a lot of the girls that go to college with my friends and I, and Nolan rode out on the Triton, and then we had a Palm Beach, 18 Palm Beach. There was 4 guys on that. There was like 8 people on the Triton, and then there was 8 or 9 people on the Triton, and then there was the rest of the group, which was ranged from maybe 10 to 15 or 16 people on my buddy's tide line, which is 24 tide line.
So he did that there and was very straightforward.
Straightforward. He didn't find shit. He was very straightforward. So we can rule out blunt force injury. You can't say that he was hitting the head with anything. So YouTubers, you can scratch out he was murdered out. You can scratch that out.
Very open. Very open. He says, however, dissection of the back of the head during the layered posterior neck dissection revealed a 12 by 8 inch focal area of red discoloration in the deep soft tissues overlaying the occipital bone. And
right, and we don't know what the hell the occipital bone is, and you ain't gonna explain it to us. And don't that sound like a bruise? So they can find bruises and stuff like that, but he can't find bruises on the body no damn well, right? Maybe he can hit. I can explain. He could have hit his head and things something like that, and his neck, whatever the case may be, right? But no bruises on the thing. But we found a bruise right here. This is a bruise. And then he don't explain it. Well, okay, and let's move on. That's why they don't have a doctor explaining this shit.
And the occipital bone. And he talked about how he found red discoloration when he cut open into the back of his head towards the occipital bone, and he saw the red discoloration, and we actually saw the pictures of it. It's significant. You can't help but notice, why is this dark red here in the back of his head? And so he was.
That's a bruise. The only bruise he had on his body was supposedly in the back of his head. That sounds like he could have slipped, fall, and hit his head on the rock, which is consistent with everybody else at that part of the beach and died and had to be rescued, had done. Slipped, hit the head on the back of a rock or something like that, knocked unconscious, and like that. And you know what I'm saying? What happened? You float away. Like the lady said, drowning is a silent death. You can't scream, you can't holler, especially if you're unconscious. So if you're drunk, hit your head on something, right, knocked unconscious, not able to scream and holler, nobody sees you, and you wash away under a current, right? There's nothing that you can say, oh, well, it's bruising back in the back of his head. That's the only bruise on his body. If he was killed in a struggle or something like that, it'd be bruises on the arm, deep bruising on the back or something, because they would have to grab. They would have to grab him, and they would have to do something to him or something like that, physically or something like that. It would have been more bruising on the body besides a deep tissue bruise in the back of his head. Unless you say they would have hit him in the back of the head with something, then it would have been a fracture. It would have been something skull, a broken bone or something like that. If they would have hit him in the back of the head with something will cause blunt force injury to knock him out. Something that's going to bruise him is not going to knock him unconscious enough to fall knocked out in the water. If it's only a bruise. They slapped him in the back of the neck and knocked him out? Right? If it was any blunt force, it was any significant to some damage to the back of his skull or the back of his neck, it'd be some damage to the skin, right? Damage, blood, it's a fracture or cut right here because when they hit him with something, it left a bruise or cut. They fractured this, the skull and the bone and all this stuff. No. They've done a dissection of the whole body and nothing has been found.
It's important to note that in his report. He said that etiology of this finding is unclear. There are no lacerations of the overlaying skin.
No lacerations. It's unclear. No laceration of something that would have caused the so-called bruise. Nothing. So why are we talking about it?
There are no lacerations of the overlaying skin nor fractures of the underlying skull. These findings are inconclusive for perimortem injury due to both the extensive decomposition and the absence of associated injuries. This finding, however, is significant enough to be highlighted in this preliminary report for further investigation. It is important to reiterate that the finding could not have been observed in the first autopsy because the posterior head and neck dissection were not performed.
What? And they did a whole body dissection. It wasn't why they going to do that? It was no reason to do it. The bruising where it was so caused, the bruising and stuff like that, there was no abrasions on the skin. There was no fracture on the skull. Why is we going to investigate and do an autopsy and dissection of all that if there was no underlying cause for the injury or the bruising? That's why we need a doctor. Common sense. I can tell you that. The report said there's nothing there's nothing that leads up to this was the cause of him getting hit, a postpartum unconsciousness, whatever the hell they call it, right? This is not the cause of it, right? So why is we talking about it?
Said another limitation faced by this forensic pathologist was the absence of the anterior internal neck structures. The trachea and the laryngeal cartilage, the thyroid horn, and the hyoid bone were not received with the body. So he's saying that the throat was not received with the body when he got Nolan Wells' body in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. And so let's discuss that with what he said about that.
Earlier you said it was normal for them to keep the throat. Now let's discuss it.
He said, it is assumed that the initial pathologist retained these structures for additional evaluation. He said the retention of the anterior neck structures doing an initial autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice.
It's common to keep the throat for further investigation. Since y'all want a thorough investigation, right? We're going to dissect the whole thing. We're going to dissect the throat to make sure he wasn't choked or drowned or anything. We're going to make sure before we pass it on. This is normal practice because we want a normal, we want to present this to the grand jury. Well, we found we kept this and we found no structural damage and things like that to the throat area. We found this finding to be consistent that there was nothing with the skull fracture and stuff like that. It's consistent that there was no foul play as far as post unconsciousness or consciousness or whatever, something like that. So we can't say he was hit or this or that. So we got to let that go, right? Because when you are the police or when you are somebody of that with that job, it's not just to work for the victim, you know what I'm saying? It's also have to be working for the so-called accused. They have to talk to their truth about it, right? This is what happened, right? And since y'all want a more thorough investigation and stuff like that, this is what we're going to do. And it's basic common practice. But you see the crowd, oh, they kept the throat. Oh, no, they kept the throat. Them motherfuckers is crooked. They kept the throat.
Autopsy is a common forensic pathology practice. He was chief medical examiner for 7 years in Washington, D.C., and he said that if they had concern about throat or any fracture or compression of the throat, they too will hold them back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back.
So you're saying your pathologist or whatever will do the same damn thing that this one done, right? But he don't know why they're holding back, right? Come on. It doesn't, you don't need to know the reason why they held him back. All you know that is common practice and they hold him back, right? For legal purposes, not just to defend you. We don't know why we hold him back. He would have done the same thing, but we don't know why they held him back. But I know why I would have held him back. But I don't know why they would have held him back.
They too will hold him back. He doesn't know why they held the throat back, but he said the throat was not with the body of Nolan Wells when he received it in Washington, D.C. to perform the second autopsy. He said, nevertheless, a posterior neck dissection performed without review of the anterior neck structures is incomplete. Therefore, this pathologist cannot rule out injury to the neck as a contributor or a cause of death.
Injury to the neck? What? What kind of injury to the neck? Somebody karate chopped him in the neck? Somebody strangled him? Right? You could have found that out with the muscles and the tissue. What happened to the neck? Well, we don't know what happened to the neck.
He said he would need to have the medical examiner in Mississippi allow him to review the throat. That's why he said his autopsy is undetermined pending investigation.
Undetermined. So when you find out nothing happened to the neck, right? No damage to the neck, then what? No, I'm sure the pathologist is not holding the throat back because he's trying to find if it's damage to the neck.
Remember, it's about transparency. Because the initial autopsy rightfully removed and dissected each organ, there are additional limitations inherent in the second autopsy of Nolan Wells. The most significant of the limitations was the inability to directly observe the airway and the lungs for water and directly observe the stomach for gastric contents. He said it is very significant as to what the initial forensic scientists who got to review the body when it was recovered, We have heard from my call center people saying the body wasn't waterlogged. Well, we need to know those things. But unfortunately, because the body was decomposed and the organs have already been dissected, those are things we can only get from the initial autopsy. So therefore, again, the manner and cause of death is undetermined until further investigation.
In your autopsy report, not in the initial autopsy report. In the initial autopsy report, it's a drowning. They don't know the cause of the drowning. That's still in the investigation, right? But it was a drowning. What do you mean it's inconclusive? We got to wait on we got to do a pending investigation. No, for your shit, not for their shit. Their shit is over with. It's a drowning. Cause of death is drowning. Your cause of death is still under investigation. How?
The initial autopsy. So therefore, again, the manner and cause of death is undetermined until further investigation. We are hopeful that the Mississippi Medical Examiner would give Dr. Mitchell an opportunity to see their photographs and their observations to the condition of Nolan Wells' body closer in time to July 4th.
I wonder, right, have they subpoenaed them pictures? Have the doctor asked for permission to see them pictures to complete the find? I need to see the pictures of y'all findings. Can you email them to me or fax them to me and things like that? You know, instead of pictures, so we can complete our findings, so we can complete our autopsy report, right? Because we want to. The only thing that we're missing in our report to finalize it is the throat and things like that. So can you send them pictures? Or they like, well, we're just gonna hold off. Did they even ask them? Because Ben Crump didn't say they denied us the pictures. We need to find out. We need the paper. We need to see. Well, have you asked them? Have they denied you? What's the problem? What's the holdup?
That is very important, and we have to continue to demand transparency, President Johnson.
Why don't you just demand the pictures? Why don't you just demand the autopsy report? Why don't you just demand the things you need to finalize the report instead of transparency? Wouldn't that be transparency if you got what you need, which is the throat?
In addition, the original toxicology results have not been received at the time of this report. And we continue to wait for the toxic results have not been received at the time of this report. And we continue to wait for the toxicology to come back because, again, that will be part of the investigation into Nolan Wells' autopsy by Dr. Mitchell. It is significant to know
he forgot the doctor name and the victim name.
That it's many things that go into toxicology that only Dr. Mitchell would be able to opine upon, and medical experts can opine upon.
Well, why they ain't there explaining it then? Why they got a civil rights attorney there explaining it?
And he feels the proper place to do that is before a grand jury.
Oh, he didn't do it in front of a grand jury, but he wanted to do it in front of a press conference, right? You explain everything is inconclusive and pending an investigation in front of the grand jury so they can say, okay, we need an investigation because he said it's incomplete and he said we need further investigation. That's something Colin Kaepernick, pathologist, was paid to say. He didn't find nothing, but we still need a further investigation.
In a courtroom, and so we would hope that the district attorney would present Dr. Mitchell before the grand jury as well.
For what? He ain't found shit. He agreed with everything the first pathologist say, right? And he didn't find that in this study, but all he says, everything's conclusive because of bruising in the neck area. So we need further investigation.
We want all relevant information to be heard by the grand jury.
Ain't none of this shit relevant.
Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water, this is important. Lastly, in cases where a death has occurred in or around a body of water with suspicion of drowning, it is important to confirm how that person entered the water.
Oh, now it's important on how they entered the water, right? Right? Not talking about the cause of why he entered the water no more, because it wasn't bruising. It wasn't because he was knocked out. It wasn't because it was a physical altercation. They need to find out how he entered the water now, y'all. How he entered the water now.
This is the crux of the matter. This information is especially important for those deaths of persons who can swim.
What? What? Who can swim? What that got to do with anything?
As in the case.
What about a person that was drinking? Have you thought about that? What about a person that was intoxicated? Have you thought about that? Damn, a person that can swim. What about a person that was intoxicated?
Persons who can swim. As in the case with Nolan Wells, at the time of this report, this forensic pathologist does not know the condition of Nolan Wells. He did not know whether he was conscious or unconscious when he entered the water.
Well, if he was unconscious, that means some bruising or some damage or something. Nobody knocked him unconscious, right? Somebody knocked him unconscious, right? He could, like, logical explanation, drink, got swept away, hit his head on a rock or something like that, which caused a little bruising or something like that, or damage like that. Or it could have been something after, you know what I'm saying, post death or something, when he washed away and could have hit a rock or something like that doing when he was washed away, doing something. Who knows what he hit his body on? He was gone for a couple of hours, washed away, then washed back. You know, we don't know when his body went through a hit.
He said that would be significant. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water.
If he was forced in the water, it would be more bruises than the inside of his neck. It'd be bruises on his arm, bruises on his leg, bruises on his wrist, bruises on his shoulders, bruises on his back, bruises on his stomach, bruises on his chest, right? Bruises everywhere. If he was forced into the water. Think about it. If he was forced into the water, he's a football player. He's an athlete. He's black. You mean to tell me, and I'm sure he pretty much loved his life, you mean he was forced into the water with no bruises? No injury, no abrasions? Take that out of the frame, baby.
Forced. He said he did not know whether he was forced into the water or unforced into the water.
Unforced into the water. That's a hell of a liberal definition. Unforced into the water. He was alive or unalived? Was he forced or unforced? Any common sense to tell you he wasn't forced into the water, fool?
He said that would be significant. So he said the condition of Nolan Wells before he entered the water would be the crux of the matter. It would be of utmost importance to being able to determine a cause and manner of death. He said definitive circumstances of death are required to determine the manner of death. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out, and let me really call your attention to this. For these reasons, this pathologist cannot rule out if any intervening non-accidental factors contributed to or caused the death of Nolan Wells. Understand, he said based on the examination of the body, he cannot rule out foul play. That is significant.
What? He can't rule it out, but he can't rule it in? Can he rule it in? That's what we want to know. Can he rule foul play in? He got the body, he got he done the autopsy, right? He got the original autopsy reports from the original pathologist, right? Can he rule it in? Tell it. Oh, he cannot rule it out. You hear the crowd? Oh no, he cannot rule it out. Oh my God, he cannot rule it out.
Foul play. That is significant. He cannot rule out foul play. That is significant. With the following questions still outstanding, number one, what were the circumstances that led to Nolan Xavier Wells entering the water? Number two, what was the body position when it was found? We know that a member of the United Cajun Navy said that he was face down and he was fully clothed. Number three, was there water in the airway? Remember, he talked about the lungs and the airways where they fill with water. Number four, is there any evidence of injuries to the anterior neck structure? We got the autopsy without his neck. We got the body without his neck at the time of the second autopsy. Number five, is there any evidence of any intracranial hemorrhaging? He said that is going to be very significant. Things that he could not observe at autopsy that the initial medical examiner would have been able to observe.
Okay, and what did the initial whatever the hell say? Huh? Did you ask him? Did you get his report? Right? Did you get his? Come on, man.
Number six was the composition of the composition of the stomach contents? He talks about that being important because when was he found? How long had he been in the water? How long had it been since his last meal? All those things become relevant factors.
It do? Why? Oh, he had Taco Bell. That was important. He drowned at this time. That was if they couldn't find you. How is it that the pathologist can't say when the day that Nolan Wells died, right? When they have a day when he was missing. He was missing for a whole day when they were searching. So evidently he went missing 4th of July because he was gone. Are you saying he was still alive? It's undetermined when he was dead or not. You mean your pathologist have the body all the time and couldn't tell when he died? What day he died on? The date is undetermined.
When you're trying to do a thorough and impartial autopsy. And number seven, what are the toxicology report findings? He said the best classification again for the cause and manner of death for Nolan Xavier Wells is undetermined pending investigation.
What investigation? What investigation? Right? Your shit is undetermined. Right? They should not, the police should not, the state of Mississippi's not. Yours is. Colin Kaepernick pathologist is undetermined. Because we need an investigation. What investigation?
Wells is undetermined pending investigation. This forensic pathologist reserves the right to review and incorporate additional forensic pathology information into his opinion as it becomes available. He says, the above opinions are expressed to a reasonable degree of medical certainty. Dr. Roger A. Mitchell, July 19, 2026. And we know that, as I said, this is only another part of the puzzle. And even though it tells us significant information, we still have more questions than we have answers at this time. And we will continue to press forward and persist, Christine and Elmore, with getting the answers to these questions. Know that there are so many conflicting stories. The fact that she said him being found face down, the fact that we have other videos where people who have called said that is Nolan, who is in some kind of dispute with others. We're looking at all of these things. The fact that the GPS tracking of the boat is being questioned by many.
What? The tracking? So you said GPS is racist now? You gotta be kidding me, huh? The tracking of the GPS tracking is in question. GPS is lying? They done manipulated GPS?
We're looking at all of these things. The fact that the GPS tracking of the boat is being questioned by many.
There, I'm assuming that you line the boats up, because I'm envisioning the picture of getting out there and there's hundreds of boats. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of people. Yeah. So it wasn't just you guys on a deserted island with
of course not
a few people. This is thousands of people out there.
Right.
And there's a lot of people doing what?
And both 18 years old who were killed and
Ben Crump to give you two stories of two 18-year-olds was killed in the same manner, right, that Nolan Wells was, right? And to me, these cases seem more obvious, right, than the other cases. But I guess you couldn't get paid off of it because the people had been convicted and things like that criminally, right? So you couldn't get no money civilly. So you're not fighting for these so-called cases. And these cases right here is way worse than Nolan Wells, right? These two cases I heard like, damn, why we ain't heard of these people? This is way worse than Nolan Wells. Look at what these white people done to their black friends. Look, black people, don't go boating with your white friends, according to Ben Crump and them. Don't go boating with your white friends because you can come up, don't go to parties with your white friends because you can come up missing, right? He can get two examples that sound, it don't sound like racism, but it sound way more vicious than the shit they talking about. Let's go.
Extraordinary ways that are very similar to Nolan. President Johnson, 18-year-old Daniel Irvins went on a fishing trip, out on a fishing boat with two other young men. He was the only black. It is alleged that he ended up accidentally drowning.
Well, with him and two other white boys, that's way more suspicious than one black boy and 10,000 white people.
But his two white friends got his cell phone and threw it away.
They found Nolan's cell phone.
Got his clothes and threw it away.
Nolan put on his clothes. Evidently, he was found fully clothed. Wasn't he? Huh? Ain't that what it was said?
And then went and deleted all of their text messages with him in social media. So,
right, the best friend didn't touch the phone, but the mother best friend kids did.
Sounds familiar?
No.
And they've only been charged with tampering with evidence. And
as well they should be. They tamper with evidence, huh? They tamper with it through the clothes, through the phone. They tamper with evidence until they found out he was murdered. They only can charge him with the crime was tamper with evidence.
His mother is crying out that they should be charged with murder because if they would lie about his cell phone and his clothes and deleted messages, then they will lie about what really happened to Daniel Irvins.
What does it look like when you first pull up?
I pull up, and we pulled up at 10:30. I mean, it wasn't, early afternoon. I mean, it wasn't, but 10:30 is, still pretty early in the day. And when we got there, there was already 3 rows of boats lined up all the way, like I said, until I could see. And
you're talking, when you say all you can see, you're speaking about miles.
Yeah.
Of boat. When we went out there earlier, or not earlier today, but when we went out there, the island is massive.
Correct.
I mean, it's just several miles long.
Roughly 10 to 12 miles.
And then there's the matter of President Johnson, Christine Clark, of 18-year-old Tyler Smith. Tyler Smith, on 4th of July, was at a house party with about 10 other people. He was the only black person at the house.
Keep going. Eh? He preaching. Keep going. He was the only black person at the house. Keep going, brother. Keep going. Preach on. They making this shit sound like church. This is the rest of the funeral, the part 2. Hey, look, the theme is, right, one black kid, all white people, black kid dead. Don't you want to read the movies? Don't these kids watch the movies? If you are the only black kid or the black person in any damn horror movie, right? I don't give a damn what horror movie it done dated back to the 80s, right? If anything goes, the black person is the first to die, right? Don't they watch horror movies? Don't they watch? Haven't they watched Scream and Halloween and Jason? The black person died the first when it's all white people. Your odds of survival is low. Because they're trying to tell you, all white people, and so what you're saying is, if you're a white person and you want to survive any trip, take somebody black with you. If you want to survive a boat trip or a house party, take somebody black with you. He's gonna die first. That's fucked up. They done brought the horror movie, but this sounds suspicious. I wonder why they ain't fighting for this shit. This sounds suspicious. I admit this one sounds suspicious.
The only black person at the house. He somehow ends up shot in the head, dead. Some of the friends get rid of the gun. The police show up. They tell the police it was an accident. It was an accidental shooting, that they were playing Russian roulette. And Tyler Smith ended up getting killed.
Well, I told you, you playing Russian roulette with a gang of white boys and the gun accidentally shoots you in the head. You the only black person, one bullet in the gun, y'all passing it around. And you should have knew not to play that game. If it was racist or unracist or not, I'm not finna be, look, oh man, we finna play a game of Russian roulette. You in for a black? Wait a minute, Tom. What the fuck you mean, Tom? I'm not finna play that game, Tom. I'm gonna put this bullet in the gun. You go, I go, you go. No, man. We've been drinking a little too much time. Chase boy, right? You gotta give a shout out to the people been supporting this channel. Like Chase boy, You know what I'm saying? Like, the reason why my computer about to go out, but this the computer he gave me a long time ago. We gotta give out the Miss Chocolate Cocoa. They are the queens of the show. You know, along with Beth Roberts is the executive producer of the show. Shirley K and Miss Black Barbie are also the divas of the show. We gotta give a shout out to all long time, you know what I'm saying, supporters and stuff like that. We gotta get I can't forget about JD. JD in the house. What's up? I didn't even see JD in the house. What's up with it, JD? I didn't even see JD in the house. Right? JD a long time supporter too. I can't forget about JD. Anyway, it's crazy how, you know what I'm saying, one party is saying, we need to find out what happened. We need to do this. And one party, like, we already know what happened, right? But they got to have the racist narrative, y'all.
And apparently, Christine Clark, President Johnson, the police just took their word for it. His mother and grandmother are incensed. They asked the police, did you do a gunshot residue test on his hands? And the reason they said they had to call us, like Daniel Urbans and Nolan Wells' family.
Nigga forgot their name again. This nigga's got the Joe Biden. Like, no, and he forgot their name again.
The reason they said they had to call us, like Daniel Urbans and Nolan Wells' family, because the police told them, President Johnson, that there was no need to do gunshot residue on his hands or any of the other people in the house, because I don't understand this logic, but they said if they were playing Russian roulette, then all of them would have gunshot residue on their hands. So we don't need to do gunshot residue tests. It makes no sense whatsoever. So they are taking the word of these 10 people that your son just killed himself. And you don't have to worry about doing any investigation or testing forensically anything. Just take our word for it. Now, can you imagine in any 3 of these scenarios, had the survivors been young black men and they were with a young white man and he ended up dead, what kind of investigation would there have been? What kind of interrogation would there have been? Would they have ever been able to see the light of day until those questions were answered? Well, just like you would do a thorough investigation for your children, we want you to do a thorough investigation for our children.
Well, they answering the questions right here. He answered the questions. He's not answering your questions. He's not answering your questions, right? Right. And look, I'm not gonna lie. On that last story, if my son was in a room with all white boys, right, and they said, "Hey, man, your son was playing Russian roulette with 10 white boys in the house, and your son was the only one shot." Wait a minute, it's 10 people. What kind? It was automatic. What the fuck? What number was he in line? He was 5th in line of a group of 10 people with a 6-shooter. What the? Wait a minute, oh, God. Right? They said, or they was saying, it was your turn, spin the gun and shoot it, right? Right? But I'm not like you. I would have called Ben Crump my damn self, right? I was like, Ben Crump, you won't believe this shit, right? I would have called Ben Crump myself on the last one. I wouldn't have believed the police either. I wouldn't have believed the white folks either. You mean to tell me my son, Black Rosebud son. Now I can say if you call my son, he was doing some goddamn crack cocaine or something with 5 or 10 white people or something like that, or some damn methamphetamine or something. What do you mean? My son got caught playing Russian roulette with 5 to 10 white boys. Now my son may smoke crack, but he ain't that damn dumb. You feel me? Come on, man. Nobody's gonna believe that. Nobody's gonna believe that. Look, Ben Crump, I need you to come right now. I know I'm a Trump supporter, but look, my nigga, we can squash all of that for this one. Ben Crump, here go my address, Ben. I done called Ben. I don't give a fuck. Y'all just you'd have been mad at me. JD, they'd have been mad at me. Miss Black Barbara, they'd have been mad at me. They'd have been mad at me. Miss Chocolate Cocoa, y'all would have been like, no, this nigga didn't. You just saw me round the side of Ben Crump, Miss Chocolate Cocoa. They were like, no, this nigga didn't. Oh, yes, I did. The hell I didn't. I'm gonna get this money. You've been mad at me, goddammit. Oh my God, let's get back into it.
I mean, everybody, as soon as you get there, I mean, there's people on boats, grabbing drinks and, food, whatever else. I mean, everybody is fully prepared for the 4th of July. They bring, all the drinks and food that they need because, I mean, they've been preparing for 4th for a little while now. But when we got there, I helped my buddies tie the boats up because the tie line was right here, the Palm Beach was in the middle, and then the Triton was on the outer side. And there was about a drop off from where the bow was. I mean, if you jumped off the bow, you were probably about neck deep in water. But if you got off the stern, you were probably waist deep in water.
I wonder if Ben Crump watching this interview. He said he wasn't looking for transparency and stuff like that, right? This is the most transparent you can get. You're looking for the truth. This is the most truth you can get about what he's done, how he got there, you know what I'm saying, what he was doing there. His actions. You're looking for transparency. Watch this interview that Officer Tatum done that you probably couldn't do because you'd have been racist.
I mean, but when we got there, we tied up, got, bow and rear anchor set, and we tied up all the boats, made sure they were good, and everyone just got on the water. And then eventually, next thing you know, it's our group. And then, next thing you know, there's 50 other people around us. And then it just grew and grew as the day came on. And, I mean, that's just how it was. Everybody's drinking, I mean, it's 4th of July. Everyone's just trying to enjoy themselves. And, it's a big party, basically. Big party.
Yeah, so y'all pretty much having a good time. Just like anybody would imagine, 18-year-olds, probably 20-year-olds, college students, out on the island, women, you probably had alcohol. Y'all having a good time.
Missing his throat when they received the body. And he wants to know why they held it back. He's not drawing any conclusions, but he said he would want to examine it if there were neck fractures or compressions to the neck.
So you said if he was choked or neck fractures to the neck, where the back of the neck, did somebody hit him in the back of the neck? Wouldn't that really called a spinal injury or something like that? Right? Wouldn't that really called blood or some kind of leakage or something like that, which would have been in the intestines or the body that you examined in your autopsy? Wouldn't it show some kind of, right? But we need to see the neck. And if it was, come on, no, you don't.
And he thinks that's significant to know at autopsy. The reason he says he would hold it back when he was medical examiner because he thought that there may have been some issues with neck fractures. The last thing that is significant is what we said before about him, the condition of his body when he went into the water. Was he conscious or unconscious? Was he forced or unforced into the water? He said those things are very significant. But he started off talking about this red discoloration in the back of his head is something that was of great concern to him.
Red discoloration. The only bruise on his body, red discoloration. But no red discoloration on his body, back, arms, leg, anything, right? They couldn't force him in by the back of his head and his neck. Come on, man.
Thank you.
Well, go ahead.
Look, I want you to pay attention to this, right? I don't know if he's the Mississippi head or the NAACP or what, right? But I don't know what they got him up here for, right? He might be here to answer questions, right? But as soon as he get answer questions, right, they hurry up and move him out the way. Watch when when the lady asks him a question, but watch Ben Crump readjust his coat because he got to answer the question, y'all. Watch this.
Daryl Denard with Chicago Speaks on V103. What specifically are you calling for from Mississippi authorities in terms of...
Look. You see him creeping in? Watch him start backing up and watch him start creeping in. Look at it. As soon as he said Mississippi authorities, he had right in. I don't need an answer to that. Look, he out the picture, right? As soon as he said authorities, watch his whole body demeanor.
Calling for from Mississippi authorities in terms of transparency, but more importantly...
Look. You see him nudging? And you see how he look at him? Don't answer this. I got it. Right? They want to ask him, the head of the NCP, what you doing legally and all that stuff. Watch he nudge him. Don't answer it. Watch the nudge. And watch he look at him like, oh shit. Watch.
In terms of transparency, but more importantly...
Who are you looking at? And why did he get a signal and start backing away?
Investigations.
I know President Johnson is from the state of Mississippi.
Yeah. He got his cue. And started backing away.
Investigations.
I know President Johnson is from the state of Mississippi.
Yeah, of course.
And so where's Nolan in this? You know, you guys out there, the friend groups are out there, 3 boats full of people that came out there that seem to be the closest friend group.
Right.
Where's Nolan in this in comparison to where you and others are at?
Well, you know, I had a couple conversations with Nolan that day, and I talked to him and a couple of my other buddies. They in a group. I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out. Because
does that make any sense? You have the 4th of July party, right? Once a year experience, right? A tradition, right? That you and Nolan been on a couple of times before. You there with multiple people, women, high school classmates, college classmates, people you ain't saw in a long time, right? Nolan also there with other people he ain't saw there. Why is y'all focus on each other? What the hell each other doing? He said plainly, I'm not looking at Nolan. I'm thinking he's perfectly safe because we've been through it before. I'm not thinking he's in any kind of danger because I trust my best friend, right? But other than that, I have other things I was doing personally, drinking, eating, smoking, whatever the fuck I was doing. I wasn't paying attention to Nolan.
Yeah, in a group, I was not focused on anyone solely, like looking and pointing anyone out, because there's so many people out there. I mean, I was talking to my friends that I haven't seen in a while from high school. I was talking from people I knew from college. I was talking to, you know, everybody my age and even people older.
Well, okay. Ben Crump, why don't you, because you talked to the people that was at the pool party, right? The so-called beach, right? You talk to the people that talk to these people, right? So evidently you have information that these so-called best friends wasn't just talking to know, they had conversations with other people because you had conversations with people who had conversations with these people. You know who they was talking to. You know he wasn't around Nolan. You know they was separate from groups. You talk to people who talk to Nolan separately, and you talk to people who talk to him separately. Well, I talked to such and such time. Well, I talked to Nolan at this such time, and this such time, and he wasn't nowhere near his friend. He wasn't by his friend. He was with me. He was solo. He was talking to a girl. There's so many reports of people there that was saying they talked to Nolan, they talked to this guy, right? They have videos of me and him. I got pictures with him. I got selfies of me and him. I'm pretty sure that Ben Crump got all the information because he said he talked to so many people and he got so many pictures. Why we haven't saw none? The only picture we saw was him bending down on the boat. We ain't saw no pictures of him fully clothed. We ain't saw no picture of and the picture with him with a white girl in the beach. What other pictures have we got since 4th of July that you call so many people are sending these pictures and so many people is calling us and we're talking to so many people what happened? Well, they telling you what happened. I wasn't just talking to Nolan. I was talking to everybody else. And evidently you talked to everybody else who he was talking to.
Than us were in college. I was talking to, everybody my age and even people older than us were, over there. Like, I mean, it was just a regular thing. We're all used to this. We've been out to the islands before. My buddies don't just go out to the island on 4th of July, but they go out, every weekend. And like I fish the islands. I don't just, fish around Horn Island. I fish around Ship Island too. So I'm very familiar with the islands. And I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan and, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And
Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking. I can't wait till the toxicology report come back because it will be proven that Nolan had beer in his system. He didn't say, you looking for evidence? Right? You looking for what happened? Right? You looking for a possible cause? Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking. It was 4th of July. Everybody was drinking. Everybody could have been doing something else too. Right? Remember, the mother don't know what her kid do because they don't kick it around the mother or the father. They kick it at his house. Everybody was drinking. Everybody was smoking. Oh, my son was drinking? Yes, your son was drinking. Got a picture of him bending over, soaking wet, getting the beer. Got plenty of pictures of him holding a damn beer. Yes, your son was drinking.
I feel like it was just a big, I talked to Nolan and, Nolan was drinking. Everybody was drinking, most of everybody. And I mean, Nolan seemed completely fine every time I talked.
Time, come out to play. Everybody, that's Tyler, my best friend. That's who I opened up with at the beginning of this show. Time, come out to play. Damn it, Tom, you're always late, Tom.
To him, we had just regular conversations. And, Nolan was making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon.
Javon, right? Why nobody asked Javon what the real best friend said to him? Wasn't Javon the so-called best friend? Wasn't Javon the one that went and got the phone and stuff like that? Wasn't Javon the Nolan best mother friend's son? Huh? I talked to Javon and I talked to Nolan, right? I talked to both of them. Why Benjamin Crump? Did Benjamin Crump talk to Javon? The police didn't want to talk to Javon because they didn't need to. Who needs to talk to Javon? But he put it out there. I talked to Javon. Why nobody questioning him? Why nobody asked him why you claim that that's your best friend and you're not his best friend? He didn't even ride with you. Huh? You don't hang around them. You ain't in the friend group.
Making me laugh. I had a couple conversations with Nolan and Javon. Nolan and my buddy James. Nolan and I could tell you. I talked to Nolan a couple times, but it wasn't like I was strictly sitting there talking to Nolan the whole day. I mean, there was hundreds of people I knew out there. So,
somebody saw something, not me. I was talking to everybody. I did not know that Nolan was going to drown. I did not know Nolan was going to be going missing. So I did not concentrate on where the hell Nolan was at. I rode up here with 30 to 40 other people in my friend group alone. Just in his friend group, they rode up there with 3-4 bolos of people alone. Come on, man. It's not easy to investigate. You rode up there with 3 to 4 boatloads of people, of your own people, right? Then you meet up with other people that you haven't seen in a long time, other people that you possibly want to meet and start friendships with, other people you have things in common with, other people probably selling things or buying. Come on, you meet so many people, man. There's thousands of people there. Why am I concentrating on Nolan?
Yeah.
When Nolan's parents heard the sheriff say there's no foul play at the beginning of the investigation, that is cause for concern, major concern. You haven't even investigated, but you're saying no foul play.
I'm Tiffany Walden with the Tribe in Chicago.
What do you think he finna do, right? They would ask him another question, right? What do you think he finna do? He finna back us so fast off this question, right? He gonna get the cue early on and gonna back it right on up.
I know that we're talking about a transparent investigation, but for families and people who are watching, can you kind of give a breakdown or a timeline to the best of your ability of the—
Look at him. He looking around for a rescue now. I know I ain't supposed to answer this. Let me bring somebody else up, even though they asking me.
contact that you've had with Mississippi authorities or Ocean Springs authorities or the Cajun Navy? Have you all
They already do the queue.
talked to them? Do they call you after the initial autopsy? Is it just radio silence from them? Do you have to call them? Can you kind of walk us through that process?
And Nolan said something interesting you told me about this. Something he said to you, I would say would be indicative of y'all's friendship.
Right.
And then he also mentioned something to you about that particular day and what it meant to him.
Right.
And could you share that?
Right.
So the last time we actually spoke with local authorities, which would be the sheriff's department, was I think a day or two after his body was found. That was only initiated by me. I sent him a text message. I was like, hey, this is Christine, Nolan's mom. I just want to see if there are any updates. Basically, he called back. There were no updates. He's like,
why? There's no evidence. No evidence. There's no evidence. There's no updates. What we got to update you on? That there's nothing to see here?
like, we're still interviewing.
Yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan's just like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like,
did you catch that? Nolan and Javon is talking. I talked to Nolan. I talked to Javon. That's twice he said Javon was with Nolan evidently. Huh? I'm not saying nothing, but I'm saying something, y'all. Did y'all catch that?
Javon are talking, and
We're still interviewing.
yeah. So Nolan and my buddy Javon are talking, and
Javon.
I grew up with Nolan, and Nolan.
Huh? Nolan and my boy Javon is talking. And that's the other so-called best friend? They're talking. Talk to them, Crump.
Just like I said, like just so joyful, like always happy. Like every picture I have with Nolan or picture I have of Nolan, he's smiling. I mean, like he's always happy. If I always need like a shed of light, I'm calling Nolan, and Nolan and I laugh and joke a lot. Like that's how our friend group is. We're really jokingly laugh. No one takes anything that serious. We enjoy our time together. I mean, there's never any awkwardness within our friend group. We're very, very tight. So if I ever need to get something off my chest or talk to anybody, I'm talking to all my friends. I'm not just talking to like specifically anybody. I would go out, like even if I'm having issues with something, I go talk to my group chat, and my guys are there to, give me a hand anytime I need it. And all my guys are, all my buddies are the same exact way. Nolan was the same exact way. If you ever need something, I'm here, man. Like that's how he was. So.
And then you guys get ready to leave.
Right now, that interview is going to be continued, right? Because he got a part 2 to that interview coming up, right? But you saw it here, and I can't wait to see. Y'all gonna bring this show, I can't wait to see how the haters is gonna twist this, and say that the friends caused this and that Nolan was forced or they done something to Nolan as a group, right? Things like that. When the autopsy report comes out and it shows no bruising, they're gonna try to concentrate on the throat now. You know what I'm saying? If he was forced into the water, You know what I'm saying? I watched enough CSI or have enough damn common sense to know you got to have bruises on the body. I watched enough First 48, you know what I'm saying, to know you got to have bruises on the body. If somebody was forced in a car or forced in a damn ocean or forced somewhere, right? I know if somebody was knocked unconscious, they got to have bruises at the back of the head, usually, not into the throat or the neck area. I have never saw somebody I'm gonna aim for the throat and knock you out. You know what I'm saying? It's something like that. If that was the case, I'm pretty sure y'all would have had evidence of that. Right? You have no evidence, but you want to sit up here and say, we want to put this in front of the grand jury. What? What findings? Well, it's not inclusive because we don't know the rest of their findings. We'll ask for them. If they deny you of the findings, then you have every right to take that in front of a grand jury. But was a pathologist going to put in front of her grand jury like we found no things in the throat area, we found nothing in the neck area? She's going to present her evidence. And the people who are going to see this, the grand jury is going to see this evidence, right, and say, well, there's no abrasion to the back of the head, right? There's no bruises to the body, right? Which was confirmed. I'm pretty sure they got pictures of the original autopsy of no bruises. So no matter how bad the body was decomposed when you got it, I'm pretty sure you could have got some pictures of the original, you know what I'm saying, the condition that the body was found in. It's not that hard to ask for these things. I don't think so. If you run an independent investigation and you need evidence to close your case, right? But if you present this in front of a grand jury and say, look, we don't have no evidence of physical force, we don't have any evidence of bodily injuries, but we do have a toxicology report that says he was drunk, right? We don't have no witnesses. We don't have no videos. You know what I'm saying? We don't have any of that, but we do have evidence that he consumed this much alcohol. And it's a possibility that he still assumed this much alcohol through history, you know what I'm saying, of things like this happening. This is a possibility, right? We have no evidence that anything other than that happened. The only thing we have is a toxicology report that said this kid was drinking. We have no strangulation. We have no bruises. We have nothing else. We can't say he was poisoned. There's no poison in his system. We can't say he was drugged. Right? There's no date rape drug or something like that in the system, possibly. You know what I'm saying? You can't say he was on any kind of mind-altering drugs. We don't know that because toxicology haven't came back yet. But all we know is there's no other we eliminate all the other possibilities, and the only possibility we have is this kid was intoxicated. Now, that's a different story on how he got intoxicated and who allowed him to get intoxicated, you know what I'm saying, things like that, and supervisions and things like that. Now, that's a different story, but as far as cause of death, right, when the initial thing said drowning, that's the cause of death, right? Nobody, like you can determine how he got in the water. That's cool, right? But if the cause of death is a drowning, like if somebody say, "Hey, man, this person got shot," right? His cause of death was homicide. Well, it's a different way. What is the cause of death? How did he die? He was stabbed? Was he shot? You know what I'm saying? What is the manner of death? Blunt force injury. What blunt force injury to where? The back of his head, his skull, his throat. Right? So when you say drowning or shooting, was it home? Is it a self-inflicted wound and things like that? We know the shooting. What kind of shooting was it? Was it a homicide? Was it what kind of shooting? What kind of death? What kind of strangulation? Whatever. You just can't. It's the cause of death. Some death they say natural cause. What was the natural cause? He was old. Heart conditions, natural death. It could have been a plethora of things. Everybody knew the person was going to die. They don't have to do no investigation. Was it the heart? Was it the lungs? Was it they've been on blood medication and high blood medication. They done had all these heart procedures and stuff like that. It's natural causes. People die. Natural causes. You need to know what the natural cause is. Drowning. What led to the drowning, what led to the shooting, what led to the stabbing is undetermined. It was a murder. What led to the murder, we can investigate that. What led to the drowning, we can investigate that. But the death is a drowning. We don't have to investigate that anymore. Right? Now, if you've done your investigation and you eliminate things, no blunt force injury, no strangulation, no physical body bruising. You eliminate that, so you can't say the drowning was because of some kind of physical altercation. That's eliminated. So that's not the cause of the drowning. That's eliminated. That's no longer a question with the autopsy report. So what's the other cause of the drowning? Is there other reasons why he could have drowned? Was it suicide? Right? If it's not, if you find out it wasn't suicide and he didn't kill himself, we're going to take that out of the equation. It wasn't suicide. That is out the equation. Right? What was it? Was it? So he didn't do it on purpose. Nobody intentionally done it, right? Because you can get so you can kill somebody, right? Or you can kill yourself. Just like him. Somebody could have killed him, or he could have killed himself. Both of them, in both ways, you're dead. Somebody kill you, or somebody kill yourself, or you kill yourself. But there is also a thing called accidental deaths. When people die in car accidents, helicopter crashes, the vending machine fall on you. Something happened at work, your tie get caught up in the spin around thing. You know what I'm saying? You're walking down the street and a damn a motel sign fall on the sign fall on top of your head. Right? You slip, fall, and on a banana peel and break your damn neck. You still dead. Right? You still gone, but it's an accidental death. What was the cause of the accident? We don't know. It's plenty of days. Okay, well, investigation over with. It's an accidental drowning. What was the cause of drowning? The accidental drowning? We don't know. Because you have to take out murder, and you have to take out suicide. The only logical explanation for any other reason why a person death is either natural causes, which we have to take that off, or accidental deaths. If you can come up with another cause of death or something like that, let me know. You know what I'm saying? Physical, medical conditions and stuff like that, but that still falls under natural death. You die from heart disease or cancer, that can be called a natural death. But any other thing is murder. No matter if you've done it to yourself, or somebody done it to you, or accidental death. So we're going to have to find out how this accidental death was caused. And the only logical reason, right, that anybody can come up with that's been reported is he's been drinking. The only logical reason for the cause of the accidental death was the toxicology he's been drinking. There's no anything else. There's no arrows point to anything else. Could he not handle his liquor? You know what I'm saying? Did he fall? And did he drink too much? Did he black out? What happened? How much did he drink? Did somebody slip something in his drink? Right? Did he have something with the drink? right? The toxicology report gonna cause all that, because one thing we know for sure, and the fact of all of this, was he was drinking. That's the only fact that everybody knows. That's the only fact that everybody can agree with. That's the fact that the family and Ben Crump is not going to tell you, and they never said anything about it, never once mentioned it. But they want transparency, right? Can never say that was a possibility, right? But other people know he's been drinking. There's been reports that he was drinking. Everybody who you probably talked to at the beach said, yeah, I saw Nolan, he was drinking. He was drinking a beer. He was drinking. You probably saw so many reports of Nolan drinking. You're like, damn, Nolan probably was intoxicated. That doesn't mean Nolan a bad kid. That doesn't mean he made bad decisions, right? That doesn't mean it was anything nefarious. It means it was an accident, like a car crash, like a banana peel, like an airplane. The reason accidents happen. People die from accidental deaths every day. Somebody gonna die from accidental death in less than a minute. In less than 30 seconds, somebody somewhere around the world is gonna die from an accidental death. Look it up. Every day. You can read it, Google it. Damn, he died like that? Nobody killed the person. He didn't kill himself. It wasn't because of natural causes. Accidental. What happened? He put them two wires together and it shocked the shit out of him. He didn't kill himself. He didn't accidental. It wasn't nothing he tried to do. Right? What happened? He was loading his gun and he didn't know it was loaded and he shot himself. He didn't kill himself. It wasn't no homicide. It was accidental. He was walking on the water, right? He was walking in the water, walked in the water, intoxicated, you know what I'm saying? Got a little woozy headed, blanked out, went in the water, and drowned. Nobody killed him. He didn't kill himself. Accidental. Perfectly logical. Right? So they're gonna find out, when they go to the grand jury and they present all the evidence and everything is put on the table, the autopsy, the evidence, the witnesses' statements, and everything like that. Then people that talk to Nolan, talk to the best friend, saw Nolan, and then talk, right? They're gonna present all that evidence, and it's not gonna be enough evidence, or it's not gonna be enough cause to indict anybody on something that was accidental. Right? Now you got all these pictures, got all these videos, and you mean to tell me the last video you got of him was, the last video you got of him was on a boat? You ain't got no videos of him fully clothed, or anything like that? Or somebody sent him, you don't want nobody to see him? Because all these thousands of pictures and all these phone calls and all these witnesses, you still haven't gave us anything we can say, you know what? That does sound suspicious. But you want to believe that because it's a missing neck report that your pathologist said he would have also done, and your pathologist didn't find no kind of cause of death besides natural drowning, right? You want us to believe that this should be put in front of a grand jury and investigate this shit even more, cause more pain to the family, cause more pain and grievance and accusations and things like that to the so-called best friends and stuff like that. You want this circus to go on for what? An accidental death? You want somebody convicted of an accidental death? Now, if the grand jury go after somebody else and they're like, we ain't gonna go after the kids, but we're gonna go after the adults involved, the person that this picture was taken of on this boat and allow him to take a beer, and you was right there and stuff like that, and his kids accidental death was caused by intoxication. Now that's a whole different legal battle right there. Why is he intoxicated? Who gave him the beer? Where was he allowed to drink? Who saw him drink? Who didn't stop him from drinking? You know what I'm saying? Did you know he was too intoxicated? Did you leave him by himself? Did you offer him assistance when you saw he was drinking? Now that's a whole different pot of beans right there. Responsibility and negligence, but homicide and suicide is out of the equation. You can't say he done neither one of them. But anyway, I'm about here. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the show. You know what I'm saying? If there's more information coming out, I will be back and I will let you know. Time come out to play. Tom, you want to know who deleted the pictures? The best friend, the Javon deleted the pictures because if you watched the show yesterday, right? The lady said, look, if you we said, wait, if you watched the show yesterday, the mother told the real best friend, which is him, right? His mother's a lawyer. I'm guessing it's him. His mother's a lawyer. Told him to don't touch the phone. Leave the phone where it's at. Because if you touch it, you know what I'm saying, your fingerprints are on it. You the last person to touch the phone and the keys. Don't be the part of that chain of command. Whoever fingerprints on their last, whoever on that phone and them keys, right, is on their last, right? You allow them to get it, or you allow them to come get it, or whoever wants that phone, you allow them to get it. As my son, I know the legal things. Do not touch that. So when the mother tracked down the GPS thing and found out with all of those stuff and found out where the phone thing being and thing like that and where the phone was at, the mother called her best friend. Her best friend is Javon's mother, which is the other dude he talked to on the beach, right? So Javon and them asked the mother, asked the best friend, which is him, where the phone at, right? And then when he said, well, the phone is over here, the phone, I think they said the keys is on the dresser and the phone is on the Xbox or something like that, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You can come over here and get it, which his mother legally told him, which makes common sense. So when the best friend went over there, right, the chain of command, even if the best friend, him, did touch it, right, it went from him to Javon. Now, they had the phone for all this time, and they don't know when these messages was deleted and all these other things, right? Now, how we don't know with Javon done an interview and things like that, how we don't know his mother and her best friend, his mother and her best and her best friend, his mother and him didn't delete the messages, right? Which is, hold on, shit going by, right? I'm in the ghetto, which the Javon best friend, because he had the last custody of the phone besides Javon, proven custody, not where it was at, who was in location, who was responsible for it. We're talking about chain of command on who could delete the messages, right? If it's proven, I never touched his phone and I never touched his keys, my fingerprints are not on either one of them, you can't say I'm the last person that had it. The last person that had it was Javon, so-called other best friend and his mother. Now, with their race, we do not know. We do not know. We do not even know if anything was deleted, because how we know if messages deleted, right? If I delete my messages and things like that, right, it doesn't go back and say message is deleted, right? It's erased from your whole phone. You erase if I erase a message right now, it's gone forever. So I don't know how or what gave them kind of notification or what did they know? If you can go, if they know something different than I go, you can see how many messages was recently deleted and when was they recently deleted and stuff like that. If you had that much evidence, you'd be able to do a better timeline. Okay, the message was deleted at this time because this is what the phone said, where the phone was at this time, right? And if you mess that time up, hold on, somebody got shot or something in the ghetto. Remember, I'm in the ghetto, right? And if you match up the time where that time, the time where the friends was at that time, you get a better timeline, right? Okay, when the message was deleted, it was deleted at this time. This is the phone say. At this time, the phone was still on the boat. At this time, the phone was still at your house. At this time, the phone was, you'll be able to track that down easily if you have any notification, anything on your phone that let you know when these messages was deleted, right? That would be an easy find. But I don't have a phone like that. But it also would clear to do because they could have lined it up with a timeline of where the dude said he was at the certain time, which would have made it impossible for him to delete the messages. So it would have cleared it on that too. It's very clear things that will clear people on these things that people don't understand or people don't talk about. So it wasn't so the deleted messages thing is just a myth because they haven't got with the police experts and they haven't had their own experts come in and even talk about the deleted messages. It's always been a big myth. The deleted message, his phone. Why don't you have your experts who got the phone come in and talk about when the message was deleted, how it was deleted, the time it was deleted, you know what I'm saying, things like that. Why you can't have an expert come on and do that? And that will build more curiosity and build a better timeline of who had the phone and who had possession of the phone or who could have deleted the messages. But the fact that you don't have that or the fact you won't provide that shows the timeline that the message and the deleted message app is just a myth. Just a myth. Or else they would have told you about it. Because that's a major thing in the case. You got that time? You got that time? I'm about here. I'll talk to you later. Time. Come out to play. Time out here playing.